Hey guys, what is going on? RedMaster here, and welcome back to the episode of Cards and Castles TV commentary, where today we are, of course, going to jump into some matches in a moment. However, I do want to quickly note something before we hop into those matches. You might have already or you might have already seen by the thumbnail of this video that it will be a bit of a different style to it. I do want to kind of breathe some new life into this series, just so that way it might appear to be a more legitimate casting, more legitimate commentary style to it. So I want to implement a bit more, and you'll see by the matches in a moment how I'm going to kind of bring some more life into this series. But I do want your feedback on this. So go through the video, go ahead and watch it, enjoy it, of course. But be sure to leave a comment down below telling me what I can improve about this style a bit more, or if you like it as it is now with this new style. Or again, let me know your feedback down in the comment section below. I do really want to improve the series. There are a couple of people out there, or at least there are quite a few of you who enjoy the commentary, who enjoy the casting. And if I want to, I do want to improve that for you guys. I want to make it more of a legitimate thing. So again, let me know some feedback based on this style in the comment section below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into our first match for this edition of TV Commentary. Alright, so our first match here is going to be UnhlpfulYoda taking on Benny Sin, Pirate Druids going up against Warlock Druids. Now, of course, they're both going to pass their turn ones. I mean, not much you can do there, but we're going to start off with the rat-infested hovel. I almost said unhelpful hovel. Meanwhile, Benny going to start off with the Northland's Wolf. Okay, not bad of a choice there. Yoda going to start increasing his rat supply with the hovel, brings out the Southport Captain. Now, interesting that he makes the Southport play rather than, a small buff like a Blacksmith or a Bard. He easily could have saved the Captain for, 2 turns and instantly, boom, there's a Mordok ramp going up there. But, I mean, I understand that maybe he wants to get the ramp out now. All he's got, though, are these global buffs and Mordok. So, I mean, maybe he's praying for something in his next draw. We'll see. Meanwhile, Benny going to take out the Blue Fire Bolt to deal with the Hovel. Not bad. Not going to attack with the Wolf, obviously, thanks to Captain's repost. And then we see Beastmaster come up. So, I mean, okay, so the ramp could have been useful there, but it looks like he's going with the Bard and Blacksmith. Now, I do want to probably take a quick note saying that I probably would have gone double Blacksmith here rather than Blacksmith Bard. The Bard is going to take away, of course, 1 gold in his turn. Now, he is playing Pirates, so that is okay for him with things like Southport in his deck. He can easily ramp away the upkeep. However, for his current hand, I would say it might have been better to go with double Blacksmith. But I can understand Bard has that +1 health to him, which is probably what Yoda's going for here to make sure that his card survives. But in the long term, like if Benny can take this card out, like say with another Blue Fire Bolt or at least a Southport, then Yoda's going to be stuck with a Bard, Blacksmith, and upkeep. So he's kind of going with a risk here, assuming that his opponent can't take out the Captain. We'll see what happens. So of course, Southport goes ahead and takes a blast at the castle. Blacksmith and Bard moving a bit more aggressively here, looking to maybe join in on the castle beating. Meanwhile, Benny throws out a Wizard and Fear. Okay, so that gamble for Yoda did turn out much better than he anticipated. All Benny could really do here was play a Wizard and Fear away the Captain. So the Wizard can't necessarily take down the Captain now with where the Captain's health lies, so that is a plus for Yoda's side. But let's go ahead and continue the match, see what happens. Fear for on Benny's side, and now we go back to Yoda's turn. Of course, the upkeep taking away that 1 gold. So, and again, that's what I mean here about the upkeep's definitely going to hurt Yoda, because he's not working with 5 gold for this turn. He saw he just drew that Fenrir. He can't use that. He can't use the Beastmaster he drew last turn either. So he's got to resort to playing the second Blacksmith, which is alright, I guess, for him. Meanwhile, of course, everything else moving back here. The gold buffs, of course, Bard, Blacksmith, moving a bit less aggressively now, and of course, Captain taking away 5 off the castle, putting the game at 20-11. However, Benny bringing out the Fenrir this time. Okay, not bad. And a medal, so what does that lead to? Bestial Rage on Benny's side. Now, this is really good here. Of course, Fenrir to just assert this big presence here. Meanwhile, Wizard getting the Bestial Rage buff, gets the HP buff of 1-1, or at least the stat buff, excuse me, of 1-1. being able to now take out this captain and, of course, move again thanks to the rampage. Will he, though? We'll see. Okay, no. Well, I mean, he did move it up, but not in any sort of aggressive, not like back or anything. He did move it behind Fenrir, so looking to maybe snipe off another target. Meanwhile, going back to Yoda's turn, he can play a Fenrir or a Beastmaster now. He will go with the Beastmaster, bringing out these big units, thanks to all these global buffs he's got. You know, Bard, Blacksmith. These 2-3 units are becoming 5-4, so they are certainly bigger than what Benny might be able to deal with here. But we'll see how Benny handles it. Looking like Fenrir's going to retreat. Wizard going ahead, taking out the Wolf, buffering the Bear Hog a little bit. But also good board awareness here and taking out the Blacksmith that he noticed was a bit lower. And, of course, not really moved back properly. If Yoda wanted to protect the Blacksmith, he probably should have moved it one space behind where this Blacksmith is, right around here. But, of course, Benny's still going to snipe it off with the Wizard. And, of course, stat debuff going to go ahead and take effect for the board here. And Benny, of course, while he has a chance of reinforcing his board with Scout and another Wizard. So certainly creating a scary presence for Yoda to deal with here. Double range from the Wizard is certainly annoying. Scout could go ahead and test some waters here. And, of course, Fenrir, this big unit, going to go ahead and power up with every attack. Yoda finally going to go summon the Fenrir on his end. That is quite a risky play considering Beastmaster is still out on this board. Another blue firebolt could, of course, take out both the Bear Hog and Fenrir, which would be quite the unfortunate situation for Yoda. Fear from Benny's end, though, going to go ahead and draw Drain Life on the Bear Hog. Of course, going to go ahead and buff the Fenrir even more, and of course, the Scout going for an even trade there. Northland's Wolf going to follow up, Wizard moving back, so Yoda in sort of a more desperate position here. Another Hovel on his end, going to have to play it. And again, the upkeep really costing him here. He wasn't able to play the Mordog. Not that the Mordog could reach anything or do anything really, but just kind of taking note here about how the upkeep can really hurt you in this kind of situation. You're kind of forced to play these other cards here, Elvish, Hovel, when you could have a Mordog out on the board, a much more scarier presence. One that could cover you, but the Wizards make that difficult as well, so we'll see. Benny can't end the game just yet with his current board, but we'll see what happens. Wizard going to go ahead and take down the Lumberjack as well as the Fenrir, alright? So I guess both Wizards are going to go ahead and take down the Fenrir. And Demonic Rage. So that is the game on Benny's end. Beautifully? Nicely done. I mean, beautiful play, nicely done. That's the way I want to probably describe that. And of course, Benny takes the victory. So, let's see. Just kind of final thoughts on the match here. I think Yoda was a little greedy with the Bard play. I mean, we saw how it backtracked him quite a bit in terms of his plays there, but we also saw Benny kind of nicely recover. I mean, we can't take away from how he kind of redirected that whole matchup. He went from being pushed with a 5-4 captain to turning it around quite nicely. That goes to show you the power of range units and what happens when they get, you know, tools like Rampage and buffs in their disposal. It can get quite nasty. So, again, good win for Benny Sin. Unfortunately, Yoda was not able to come out. But let's go ahead and jump right into match number 2 and see what goes down. Alright, and our match number 2 is going to be one that was right below this first match here. Drowinger, I want to say that correctly. Drowinger versus Dudge. Derek going ahead and using what looks to be a Standard Awakening deck. We'll see how that turns out for him. Meanwhile, Drow, unable to kind of pinpoint what he's running right now, just based on the hovel, but we'll see later on. Of course, Derek with the opening Lumberjack going to go swipe away at the castle. Meanwhile, of course, throwing out the Mischievous in for backup. So yeah, I mean, Standard Awaken so far. The Rat here is going to be able to certainly trade with this Lumberjack. We'll see if he takes that opportunity, not before placing down a hovel first. Okay, so we can see he's starting to build up a little bit of swarm here in terms of these hovels. Imp going to go ahead and snipe one of those hovels for 2 damage. Not going to be enough to kind of take it out, though. Meanwhile, the Wizard to back up said Imp will be useful, maybe taking down some of these rats that are going to push up a little too far. Unholy Altar, though, from Drowinger. Okay, not bad, not bad. Dissipate, though, will bounce back one of these altars. I mean, okay. He can replay it for pretty much nothing, which he will go ahead and do. Meanwhile, Drowinger going to go ahead and move all these rat swarms, or at least this little rat swarm forward. And now, pretty much what we take note here is that Drowinger is running sort of a swarm-based deck. The hovels and altars make it clear that if you're kind of running both spawners in the deck, this is going to be some sort of like token swarm based deck, which I mean, we see the Dragon's Fire in Derek's hand. He will be able to deal with a lot of this swarm stuff, but we'll see how the match kind of progresses moving forward. We just have to go ahead and see what he does. He's not really in a good position, though, with Wizard being his only unit, unfortunately. We see both lunging attacks in hand, or at least 2 lunging attacks in hand, plus a multi-strike. That's not going to be able to help Wizard. School of Magic plus Imp. Now, I guess while I'm here, I just want to kind of take note of something. Personally, I don't think Swarm in these colors, or at least token Swarms in these colors, which is Warlock, Pirate, I don't really think that those are going to benefit from a School of Magic. I get the explosive usage and how you're kind of like preventing positionings, or at least certain positionings from happening with explosive, for all the units, but personally, I don't think swarms like these can really benefit from School of Magic. I recommend, like global buffs are going to be big. Things like Armory, Fat Bar, Black, which you might be running in this deck for all we know. I don't want to take that away from him, but I don't think School of Magic is as beneficial as some of those other buffs could be. This could be temporary, though. I'm not so sure what this guy's collection is looking like, though. So, I mean, School of Magic is probably not, again, the best ideal choice here for these kinds of decks. But we'll go ahead and push forward with the match, see what transpires there. We can see both rats kind of pushing in here. One of them taking a swipe at Wizard. And what's Derek going to pull? The Ronin. Alright, Wizard's actually going to go ahead and jump all the way forward there. Dragon's Fire being put into play now to take out a lot of this little swarm stuff, which, good play on his part. Takes away all these swarm things and kind of, it puts Wizard's safety into question, at least on Derek's end. Drowinger might already have a way to deal with this, because it is kind of in a position where it can come right off spawn at this square, and of course, take out the Wizard with ease, but we'll just have to see what Drowinger does. He brings out Keeper of the Doorway, so actually not going to be able to finish off this Wizard here. He will start getting some undead units, though. Horseman going to be the first one. What's Derek going to do here about this, then? Lunging attack onto the Wizard, alright, and then that's going to go ahead and take out the Hovel. Now, this was a risky play when I first kind of saw it, getting the footage together. I was thinking, why take out the Hovel? I mean, I get the idea of kind of lowering the swarm potential here, and with not many units into your hand, or at least not many units in your hand, that's kind of the one approach that you can take here. But, I mean, Keeper of the Doorway, I think, is a slightly bigger threat considering what it can produce and what it can bring to the board. But, that's fine. You take away a Hovel, kill off the tokens that continue to come on, and go from there. Meanwhile, they're going to go ahead and reinforce his board with Imp and Ronin, so finally getting out some of these other units that have been sitting in his hand for a little bit. Here we're going to go ahead and finish off that Wizard, getting another Horseman and bringing out one of those 2 Horsemen he's got in his hand to kill off the Mischievous Imp. Meanwhile, another School of Magic to reinforce his board that much further. Okay, so here we kind of see Explosive 2 take into effect here, and yeah, that could also be more beneficial than Explosive 1. Still, it doesn't really change my opinion, though, regarding School of Magic in these decks, but regardless, let's push forward a little bit here. Derek bringing out the Shodan, so finally this bad boy is seeing some action on the board right now, which is good. Good to see Shodan out there getting some things done. Dwarven Scope, though, on the end of Keeper, so Keeper that much more dangerous, and Armor going to be able to kill off the Ronin at, pretty much nothing, no cost to him. Although Derek does have some things here, multi-strike, lunging attack, and now he just drew that Rite of Awakening here, so now Shodan can provide more of a, he can get more of a boost here, which we'll see if he takes the opportunity to. Lunging attack going to give him the movement that he needs to kind of get around a lot of these units here, and of course Rite going to go ahead and provide that extra explosive damage. He's going to throw the multi-strike on as well, so he's kind of going for the kill here. Shodan going to go ahead and knock the rat for 4 damage, dealing him castle damage, of course knocking it again with the multi-strike, and again another explosive, and smartly positioning the Shodan back here to kill off the castle. That's the word I was looking for. So basically, if anything touches Shodan directly, it's going to deal 4 damage explosively, which will end up killing the castle. So that is a lethal setup from Derek here. We'll see what Drowinger does, if he surrenders or if he just attacks to end the game. He is going to play a Headless Horseman, which will deal 3 damage to Shodan, plus Dagger Storm, so that actually nullifies Derek's lethal, and of course leaves Drowinger to freely smack around the castle a bit here with his rats and keeper. So that was unfortunate for Derek. He pretty much had the win right there, but was able to get knocked down a peg thanks to the Headless Horseman's explosive. And again, the reason why I say keeper might have been more of a priority in that sense. I know Derek couldn't do anything in his position to take down the keeper, but it's really why instead of things like Hovel, which can be taken down at a later date and provide these mere 1/1 tokens, units like keeper that can bring out much bigger token units. You know, I say token, but they're not exactly classified as token. They're more of just like freebies. Units that can get like freebies into your hand, I consider those much more of a priority target for me. Like if Drowinger didn't have those Headless Horsemen, sure he might have had a burn as well, but he could have had a burn, true. But I don't think he would have been able to get rid of Shodan if those horsemen weren't in his hand. We'll see if Derek can kind of come around, though, from this. He needs to bounce the Keeper with Panda to nullify the scope. He'll take away one horseman, and of course, you'll see he's dealing, you know, he'll self-destruct here with the Panda. That will be match for Drowinger. Now, I don't want to take away from them. This was a good match, and of course, well played on Derek's part here. He did set up the Shodan quite nicely, but that horseman was the nail in the coffin. If that horseman had hit castle, he may have had a burn, again, true, because he is running warlocks, but I think Drowinger might have been in a position where he had to forfeit the game, because that was it. If any unit had touched that Shodan at that time, it would have been lethal damage. It would have exploded to deal 4 damage to the castle, so I mean, good on Drowinger, though, for kind of avoiding it, for kind of keeping himself in the game, though. The Lucky Horseman shot plus Dagger Storm to kind of nullify the Shodan lethal, and for him to focus on castle, kind of just ultimately led to Derek's self-destruction in the end. So, with that being said, good match again from these two. Let's go ahead and move into match number 3, though, and see what we can end off this new Cards and Castles TV commentary style on. See if we can get a good match to kind of end it all off. Alright, and match number 3 is going to be Art of War taking on handsombloke. I'm going to just abbreviate here, Bloke versus Art, just so it's easier on the tongue. Bloke going to be the one to start us off, but both, of course, neither deciding to open up with the card. Art going to go ahead and throw the Dwarven Miner out for his start, so not bad. A 3/3 body, always good to see. Handsome, going to probably respond with Scout, or at least, I don't know, I just said I'm going to call him Bloke, but then I said Handsome. Bloke going to start off with the Scout to counteract the Miner, and that is a good counteraction. But Freezing Pillar going down. Alright. A bit risky on Art's part here. Freezing Pillar, of course, exposed to whatever comes out of Bloke's spawn, and we know he's probably going to throw the Scout down here to kind of counteract that. But a little risky, but I could see why, I guess. Wanted to freeze off the Scout. No point in kind of doing it, though. I think that Pillar was a bit of a reaction. I think. A bit of a poor reaction, but nevertheless, let's move on. Another Dwarven Miner from Art. Of course, that first Miner, though, going to get a Cloak of Ice. Alright, so a lot of freezing going on in Art's deck here. Could be more of a Frost-based deck, but again, a bit risky throwing this Cloak of Ice here on a weaker body like Miner. We see he's got the Centaur in hand, so we can assume he's going to be taken down by this. Or Dissipate, we'll see. Alpha Strike, though, nope, I was completely wrong. Alpha Strike going to go ahead and finish off the Dwarven Miner, and meanwhile the Centaur being used to kill off the other one, the freshly summoned Miner. Alright, so not bad on Bloke's end, although a lot of resources were used on his end to kind of kill off these units. Meanwhile, Art going to go ahead and summon out the Grudge Bearer, so we can pretty much see that this is more of a Dwarven Freeze deck with Grudge Bearer in hand, and the Miners that we saw, I can kind of see that kind of going in this direction. So interesting to see if this deck can pull off anything monumental with the cards that it has. But we'll see. Bloke going to go ahead and bring out the Sentry Golem from his end. So I feel like Bloke's deck can be classified more as good stuff. We see another Freezing Pillar going down. All right, so that Scout will be frozen. Not bad there. Although Bloke does have some removal options. Actually, no, he doesn't have removal on the pillar. So I thought Salahar for some reason had more attack than it did, but that will of course be the end of his turn here after summoning the Vicious Sunflower. Now, I don't really approve, at least, of this positioning here, or at least that lines me up for a Lightning Blade chain. Now, in Bloke's mind, the Lightning Blade won't be enough to kind of kill off the Sentry Golem and the Scout, so I can see why there, but there are some real possibilities that the chain does exist here, and we'll see what Art does. Medal of Bravery plus Merchant's Favor for 9 gold brings out Yarm Giant. Now, I can't say that this was, expected, I should say. Yarm Giant was or at least, this definitely punishes the Bloke's positioning, no doubt. This does punish him quite a bit here, but it was kind of lucky on Art's part to have the Merchant's Favor and Metal in hand for so long to bring out Yarm Giant, but regardless, Yarm Giant comes out, smacks the Vicious Sunflower, gonna go ahead and deal a lot of damage here, and we'll see how Bloke reacts to this. His Grudge Bearer takes out the Frozen Scout as well, so to be fair, it looks like the board more is in favor of Art, but we see Bloke and Hoey use Detention and bounce back the Yarm. Now, something to take note though, Yarm 9 gold, Detention adds 2 onto the cost, and that is a unusable Yarm right there. So now Art's dealing with an 11 gold Yarm in his hand. He has Pirates, so to be fair, he can get another Merchant's Favor. We know he's running it in the deck maybe. We can see him potentially resummon that Yarm, but this is a really strong play in my opinion. The Detention onto the Yarm, and kind of brings up the idea that if Detention was at a 3 cost rather than not 3 cost, like a 3 discount, or at least, no. How would I word this? Would that be a tax? A 3 tax, maybe? If it had like 3 tax rather than a 2 tax, would we see more play of it, considering that it would be able to block more cards, especially those in the 8 gold, like Mordock. We could see what else could we see in like the lock section? I don't know. Like, I would like to see Detention more of like a lock based spell, where if they played at the right time, they would be able to basically take the unit out of the game, which like Yarm is here, so it's interesting to see how Art will recover from that one. But I mean, he's not really able to push much else onto the board right about now, except for a Mana Core. He could have dissipated the Grudge Bearer, but instead he's going to kind of go ahead and summon the Mana Core, and that's going to be the end of the turn here. Meanwhile, Temple going down to support the Wind Mage play. Let's see, Bloke going to go ahead and summon the Magic Eater. Then I imagine play, alright, not going to hold off, or he's going to hold off on the Dissipate for now. Although Magic Eater down here, we could see Art maybe prioritize that. We'll see what happens. Mordock on Art's end, and of course pushing up everything while he has the opportunity to. I imagine Dissipate's going to go ahead and hit the Mordock, right? Yup. So that will of course go ahead, slowly build Magic Eater's stats here. And while he's at it, bring out the Shodan for, alright, not going to really go ahead and block the Grudge Bearer. But I mean, you don't necessarily need to block the Grudge Bearer since it is a slower unit. Art, though, definitely has a hand advantage here. I think he forgot the Mana Core existed. So Wind Mage looking to try and take out Golem, but of course Mana Core down here leaves his Wind Mage kind of at a loss. Fist of Donic, though, meanwhile, Cloak of Ice. I would say yes, build the Grudge Bearer, but we see the Dissipate in Bloke's hand here, so that's going to be pretty much for nothing, I think, on Bloke's end. He did temporarily freeze off this Shodan, but I think, yeah, Dissipate's going to be a downfall for him. And then, of course, Bloke going to go ahead and summon the Golem. He has no reason not to. And, of course, he'll strike with the Golem onto the Wind Mage, kind of throwing off the chain a little bit here from Temple of the Five Gods. Art going to go ahead and respond with the resummoned Grudge Bearer plus another Wind Mage, so everything going to go ahead and push back a little bit further, which would have been more useful if, he could set up some sort of nasty chain with that, but unfortunately not going to happen. Bloke going to go ahead and get the stat Awakening on the Sentry Golem up here. A little bit more movement positioning right here, a little bit more threatening. This Golem can kill off the Wind Mage. Shodan down here can mess with the Pillar. Alpha Strike on the draw doesn't really help too much, but we'll see what happens. Mordock coming back out. So, this pretty much sets up dangerously. Shodan into Alpha Strike here. It does have Rampage thanks to the Druid faction bonus. So we could see some interesting plays here. And of course, Wind Mage taking the opportunity to kill off the Mana Core, saying, yeah, I don't want any more of that. But damage has been done pretty much by the Mana Core already. And he's got another one in his hand. Just top deck another one. Alpha Strike onto the Sentry Golem. Okay, I don't see why you can't just maybe hit it off on the Shodan, but I guess the Freezing Pillar is more important. Mana Core coming back out and taking down the Wind Mage. I guess it leaves Magic Eater to kill off the Grudge Bearer, which he's looking to do here. Lunging attack, gets another stat buff. First Strike kills off the Grudge Bearer. And I think this match is going to go into Bloke's favor. There's not much Art I think can do here. He has 1 point of health advantage on the castle, but that's going to be the end of the game here. Freezing Pillar, okay. Does freeze off his units. Mana Core not enough to kill it, but ooh, that's a Centaur in the hand. So Centaur going to be able to take out the Pillar, which I imagine he's going to do. Yep, there goes the Pillar. And of course, Shodan going to go ahead and knock the Miner. Okay. I mean, he has the Mana Core, so that is a feasible play there. I mean, the Mana Core is essentially gone because of that play, but I guess he could have attacked Castle then. Well, no, because that would have lightened up a chain. So, there's a Merchant's Favor, so I can assume who's coming out this turn. Yep, there he is, the 11 gold Yarm. I think that's going to end the game, though. There's really not much else that can be done. He didn't kill off either of those 2 units, so yeah, that's going to be game over. Whew, that was certainly a match to watch. A little bit longer than our previous 2, but not bad. Let's see, things I want to say. I mean, the detention was a good play on Bloke's part. Locking that Yarm up for pretty much the entirety of the game was a good play for sure. And I would just probably say Bloke had the better... I don't want to say he had the better cards, but I guess he had the better awareness about what's going on the board. Art was throwing a lot of preemptive freezing cards, and of course, those probably would have worked out better if Bloke didn't have things like Dissipate and Detention that pretty much negates all of those sort of equipment spells. So, I think, unfortunately, Bloke had the better deck here in terms of just taking on what Art gave him. But overall, it was a strong match, solid one regardless. And again, it brings up the fact that if Detention can be buffed to have that 3 tax, can we see more of it in play? Because, I mean, being able to kind of lock out cards from games entirely could be interesting. It could certainly bring like a new element to ninjas. It could bring some soft removal into ninjas that, you know, in a faction that does not at all have it. So, again, kind of some food for thought there. But ultimately, again, a strong match to close off this edition of TV Commentary for sure. With that being said, folks, I'm going to do it for this edition of Cards and Castles TV Commentary. Let me know what you guys think of this new style, if you want me to continue the commentaries like this. I find them better, so that way I can just kind of pause the match for a moment and just highlight some things, maybe talk about some things more without being rushed by the match itself. So I'm going to definitely implement more, I guess, more of this kind of style into the commentary, switch it up a little bit, to give it some new life that I think it needs. So again, let me know what you guys think of the style. Leave it in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like, share it, and of course, hit the subscribe button if you are new or haven't done so already. Show your support the channel by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. And that's going to be it for me for now. So, until next time, guys, stay gaming.